Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is right around the corner, and after so many years of hype, you may say, I just want to get into this game, I've heard a lot about it, even if you haven't played a Metroid game before. And in this video, I just want to talk about what you should know, like if you should get right into Metroid Prime 4, if you should play something else, if there's anything that you should know. And before I do, be sure to subscribe as I'm closing in on 80,000 subs. So anyway, you may be asking, what is this series about? Like, this game looks interesting. Do I need to play games to understand it? So the short answer is that yes, you can play Prime 4 without playing the other games. Doesn't mean that I recommend that. No, like I think if you have a way to play the originals, you should. And Metroid Prime 4, if you have a way to play Metroid Prime 4, you have a way to play Metroid Prime with the remastered version. But before I get into that, Prime 4 is going to be separate from the original trilogy. It's going to be its own story. While it looks like there's going to be callbacks and things like that, you could play Prime 4 without playing these games. However, with that being said, I highly recommend you at least play Metroid Prime 1. Just going to give you a better idea of what the series is like. Like, this is the foundation of Metroid Prime. Like, it seems like Prime 4 is going to be more accessible. But I think this would be a good place to start. Like, see if you like this style of game. Like, this was a very innovative game when it came out. Like, before this, Metroid was solely a 2D Metroidvania series, and then it became a 3D Metroidvania. And that's the formula we all know and love today. So Prime 2 and 3 are not very accessible today. Like, they're not on the Switch in any capacity, which is honestly pretty sad. Like, these are really great games, and these games I would say you not need, but you really should play Prime 1 before playing these. With Prime 4 it's different. And then what about the other games? Like, should you play Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid? And the answer is I think you should try them. Every single Metroid game before Prime 2, I believe, is on the Switch. Like, you play it on Nintendo Switch Online. Like, that would be Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Mission, and then of course Metroid Dread and Metroid Prime Remastered are on the Switch. The only ones you cannot play on the Switch are Federation Force, which just forget about that game. Metroid Prime Hunters, which is a fun little game, but it's not important to the lore of this really. Metroid Samus Returns, which is a fun game on the 3DS, and Metroid Prime Pinball, which actually has the most important lore in the entire series. Okay, I'm kidding obviously about that, but if you're interested in this, if you're interested in the series, but aren't really sold on it yet, and maybe you don't even want to buy Prime Remastered yet, maybe you want to just play a game on Nintendo Switch Online, and while it's very different, like while it's hard to compare 3D games with 2D games, it's the same basic formula where it's a Metroidvania where you unlock different abilities, you go through a whole map, there's a lot of backtracking. When you get a new ability, you have to remember like where you can use that. So it definitely does keep that style. And the 2D games, I don't want to say they're simpler, like obviously like it's just left and right, up and down. When 3D there's a lot more directions. But if you absolutely just can't get into like something like Super Metroid or Metroid Dread or any of those games, and there's nothing about it you find redeeming, like you hate the backtracking, you hate getting new abilities that force you to go back, I honestly don't think you're going to like Metroid Prime. Maybe you will, because they are still very different, but it's still at its core just is about that. Like, for me personally, I like the style of game, but I could understand why someone might not like it. Someone might just want a game where they just go straight through it, and that's totally fine. But if that's the case, I can't recommend Prime 4, or at least I can't recommend getting it before trying Prime 1. But anyway, going back into the Metroid games you should play, like maybe you're like, okay, this is an interesting concept, I want to try more of these games, which one should I play? So besides Metroid Prime Remastered, which I think should be the first one you play if you're really serious about playing this, if you would like to just play a 2D game, like for the reasons I mentioned before, I'd say there's two options you should have to start with. Either Zero Mission or Super Metroid. So Zero Mission is a remake of the original Metroid on NES, and I don't recommend that to anyone, if I'm being honest. Like, unless you grew up with the game, it's very, very rough to go back to. It's a very frustrating game. It's very much a product of its time. Like, it's a very hard game to get into, and I think that might turn you off from the series if that's what you think it's like, so I just would not recommend that. Same with Metroid 2. Super Metroid was the first game in the series that I think is really worth playing. Like, it's one of the best games of all time. Like, you've probably heard a lot of people rave about it, and for good reason. The actual gameplay is pretty close to flawless. Like, the biggest issue is that the controls are not great. Like, they just haven't aged particularly well. Like, Samus definitely has weird physics. The controls do work against you at some points. It's a little teased. Like, you have to switch. Like, sometimes you have to press like the X button 4 times just to switch what you're using. But besides that, it's a great way to start the series. Like, it's hard to explain what makes it so great. Just the level design, the abilities, the sprite work is great. So this is definitely a great place to start. And then Zero Mission, this one controls better. This was on the Game Boy Advance, but this was a remake of the original Metroid. So it basically takes what that game did, its story, its location, and just completely overhauls. It makes it a much better game. So I think you can't go wrong starting either of those. They're also not very long games. Like, Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Fusion are two of the shorter games in the series. Super Metroid, you could probably beat in like 8 hours. So it's not something like Hollow Knight Knight or Hollow Knight Silksong, where you could play these games for like well over 40 hours. Like these are definitely shorter games. Like you could probably finish it in a few days, like if you really commit to it, maybe even less, like if you just really lock in. So I'd say give these games a chance. If you like those, if you think that gets you into the Metroid series, if you like the lore here, if you like Samus, if you like the world building, I think then you should give Metroid Prime Remastered a chance. And then if you like that style where you like the more first-person shooter aspect of it, you like that combined with Metroidvania, then I would say try to get 2 and 3. Like they're not expensive. Like you can get the Metroid Prime trilogy, you can get that for the Wii for nothing crazy. You would need a Wii or Wii U to play it, but most people do have those, so I'd say try to get that if you do, because I think it'll help you appreciate Metroid Prime 4, assuming that's a good game. So I'm not trying to say play every Metroid game before you play Prime 4, because you don't need to do that. I'm just saying, like, try to ease yourself into the series, like, before just buying a brand new $60 or $70 game. Or you know what, maybe you want to just go into Metroid Prime 4 blind. What if maybe you want to just go into it without knowing anything about the series, and that's totally fine too. I can definitely understand that, but just know that if you play that and then go back to other Metroid games, there's probably going to be things you're just confused about. Like you're going to be like, why is there not a Marvel sidekick here saying he's right behind me, isn't he? And again, we don't know exactly what's going on with Miles in the game, but it's definitely does not look like something we've seen in Metroid before, because it's always been a series about isolation. If you didn't know that, like it's about you just arriving on a planet, just being somewhere where everything is out to get you. Like you're either by yourself or exploring the planet by yourself. And Prime 4 seems to definitely change some of that from what we've seen, but I don't think you'll have like too much spoiled for you if you play this first. Because while I like Metroid games, it's not the series it's not like with Zelda where I know like a lot of the lore. Like I'm not the biggest on Metroid lore. Like it's more where it's like not directly given to you, you kind of just have to figure it out. Some games are a little more hand-holdy with it, like Metroid Fusion definitely feels like a little more hand-holdy with it. Metroid Prime 3 gives you a lot more info without like just making you try to get the info. So anyway, that's just a little quick overview about the Metroid series, like what I think you should play, like what I think you should go into the series like looking for. Metroid games are not for everyone. Like something like an Animal Crossing is a lot more accessible for a new fan. Metroid's not the most accessible series, but there is a lot to love here. If you like Nintendo games, this is worth a shot, because you could literally play most of the good games in the series for free. So if budget is a concern for you, you have 3 really good games you can play on the Switch. Then you could also get Metroid Dread and Metroid Prime Remastered for probably around $40 each. But you know what? If you are really hyped for Metroid Prime 4, if you never played a Metroid game or a Metroid Prime game before, and you think it looks interesting, then go into it, see if you like the game. I'd say at least wait for reviews, because there definitely are some things I'm personally concerned about for it. But if the reviews come out good and you want to try out this game, hopefully it's a good starting point in the series. It's going to have, I think no matter what, no matter some of the flaws that may or may not be in it, it's going to be a 2025 game. It's going to be a Switch 2 game. Like it's going to have modern quality of life features. Like it's not going to have some of the drawbacks from the older games that either were just products of their time or products of just their limitations, I should say. So I don't know. We'll have to see what Metroid Prime 4 is like. This is just an overview. Like you still have a couple weeks basically until it comes out. So it's up to you to decide if you want to try out any of the other Metroid games. Are you hyped for Metroid Prime 4? Are you going to be playing it when it comes out? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe as well. This has been Domain with Game Domain, and I'll see you next time.